Hello and welcome to White Glove Reviews. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a cool little Swiss Army knife. Now, this particular Swiss Army knife is a discontinued model, and the model we're looking at is called the Passenger. And the deal with the Passenger that makes it kind of interesting is it's a very minimalistic Swiss Army knife that has the magnifying glass and also has the inline Phillips head screwdriver. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to open this thing up and take a look at all the tools in it. And it's for comparison, it's a 91 millimeter version, and it weighs, I think it's like 80 grams, so that's about 2.8, 2.9 ounces. It's not a very, it's a nice size pocket knife, as a knife that actually would fit in your pocket. It's not quite growing to the ridiculous dimensions of, say, you know, the Cyber Tool light I carry on my keychain, but it's still of a size that is very much pocketable. So let's open this thing up and take a look at it. It's got the usual can opener and screwdriver, and it's got the Ubiquitous bottle opener and highly questionable wire stripper, along with a larger flathead screwdriver. You got the small knife blade that's traditional, and the large knife blade. And of course, this is a Swiss Army knife, so you know it comes out of the box super sharp. It's got the all reamer thing on the back and a corkscrew. Now, one modification I would 100% make to this is I'd get one of the little micro screwdrivers, like, you know, little plastic things, and I would insert it immediately into the corkscrew, just for a little extra tool, if you were so inclined, like so. You know what's kind of interesting about this? And I know this might seem a little weird as an observation, but I ran into a problem with this. And what I noticed is this. This is an older model, and it has, you see this little eyelet right here? I don't know if y'all can see that. Y'all see this little eyelet right here? If you look, the piece of metal that it's going through is relatively thin. And if you compare it to a newer model, like right here, let me get the focus for y'all better. The newer eyelets are much thicker. And I actually ran into this problem years ago with the Swiss, like I think it was the first knife I ever had. The first Swiss Army knife. It was a Swiss Champ. And it had the thinner metal for the eyelet right here. And because I had it hanging, I carried it forever. And it also ended up hanging from my keychain for a long time. And what happened is the wear wore through the metal right here. And I ended up having to send it back, and they replaced the knife. And when it came back with the bigger, thicker eyelet thing here. So anyway, just kind of randomly interesting. And if you compare it to the current production model knife that is the most similar to the Passenger, this is the Explorer. Like if you compare the eyelets there, you can see here too, you have the super thin eyelet on the Passenger, and you have the thicker eyelet on the Explorer. Oh, if you're interested, the difference between the Passenger and the Explorer is you get a pair of scissors and a carrying hook. Those are really the only two differences between there's the added layer for the scissors, and you pick up the scissors and the carrying hook. So if you're looking for, the Passengers they're not impossible to find, but they're a little bit difficult. You're gonna have to like hunt around, maybe look on eBay, that kind of thing. Oh, I was gonna show you though. The last two things are the Phillips head screwdriver, and this is an inline one instead of like in place of the corkscrew for the tinkers, and you get the magnifying glass. And this is one of the older magnifying glasses as opposed to one of the newer ones, like on this Explorer. You can see they've changed the design a little bit, but still kind of cool. So anyway, if you're looking for an Explorer type model with a magnifying glass and you don't feel you need the scissors and the space is very important to you, Passenger's not a bad choice. I'll tell you one thing that it's kind of, I wish it were with this case with the Explorer too. I wish they had the plus scales where you picked up the pen and you picked up the pen. Yeah, the pen's on the big side. You pick up the pen, you pick up the writing pen and the straight pen. I think that would be a good addition to this. I mean, you could do it if you just rescaled it. That's not a big deal. And I think this probably predates the plus scales anyway. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it predates them. It's relatively old though. Anyway, the other things are there's another model called the Scientist and the Yeoman. Both of those are also out of production, and the Scientists tend to be probably maybe I don't know if they're the most expensive of the three, but the Scientists tend to be up there. The Passenger, I found this Passenger relatively inexpensively. It was like about $70, I think. So I'm like, they're not. And the Scientists I've seen have gone for way more than $70. Well, not way more, but more than $70. So anyway, I don't know. It's one of those things like, it's a neat little knife. But if you want a much more affordable version that you don't have to hunt around for, and you don't mind the added little bit for the scissors, the Explorer is an in-production model. And I'll include links. I'll include a link to the Swiss Army Knife Wiki that has information about the Passenger, and I'll include a link for where you can find the Explorer if you want to pick up one of those. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Is the Passenger a cool little knife? You think it needs to be a Scientist instead? Do you think that people are ridiculous carrying a giant Swiss Army knife like I carry on my keys? Or do you think the Explorer is the way to go? Also, let me know what you think about plus scales versus not plus scales. I feel like anytime Victorinox makes a Swiss Army knife now, modern day, that doesn't have plus scales, they're making a mistake. I mean, it just seems like it's a small addition to make. But I guess maybe if they're trying for like as budget of a knife as they can make, every little bit counts, and you have the cost of the pen and the pin, so anyway, I don't know. I just kind of feel like every one of these knives that doesn't have a set of plus scales on it, I want to rescale and just make them have the extra goodies. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I hope y'all have an excellent day.